Okay, Maddie, it's okay. It's 10 o'clock. Are you okay to start now?
Yeah.
Okay. Let me enable waiting room. Okay, good morning, everyone. My name is Carol Young, and I'll be facilitating this session today. We are so honored to have Madisyn Sim today with us here, joining us today and sharing her expertise through a 90-minute presentation session named 10 Meaningful STEM Activities in Early Childhood Education. Please be aware that we will be recording this session. If you do not like being recorded, you may consider turning off your camera during this session. If you during the session, because it will be reviewed afterwards. The recording will be made available on YouTube and shared on iTeach 808's website a week after this event. Without further ado, I will turn this over to our presenter, Madisyn Sim. Thank you and enjoy your presentation today.
Thank you so much, Carol. So, hi, my name is Madisyn Sim. Thank you so much for joining me today. I know there's a lot of really great presentations going on at this 10 o'clock time, so I'm really thankful that you came on to mine. So today we're going to go over the 10 most meaningful STEM activities in early childhood education. So I'd like to start with just a little bit about me personally. So my name is Madisyn Sim. I graduated from the University of Hawaii at Manoa. Previously, for 2 years, I was contracted at Sacred Hearts as the assistant director to the robotics lower school program. Currently, I work as a private contractor teacher for Soto Academy, teaching the students about STEM and robotics. But I've been in the robotics community for a very, very long time in my short life, at least half of my life, where I've been a student from middle school, 7th and 8th grade. I went and participated at Kalani High School in robotics from 9 through 12. When I graduated, I became a volunteer and I did all the competitions as their master of ceremonies. I then later became a mentor at Sacred Hearts Academy. And now I'm currently my own, I can teach my own class at Soto Academy in engineering and STEM, as well as I sit on the board of directors right now for the first regional planning committee in Hawaii. So that's a little bit about me. If I could please have everyone just tell me a little bit about themselves, like their name, their school, and what is your journey through STEM?
Hi, Madisyn, this is Jolene. Hi, I'm a second grade teacher at Sacred Hearts Academy, and STEM is still sort of new to me. I'm glad at Sacred Hearts Academy we have a STEM program. So I have to say I sort of rely a little bit on the STEM teacher for guidance if I want to try to integrate it into my classroom. But I'm still sort of learning about how to, relate it to all the different subject matters and not just science, but how to relate that also with math and language. And I'm very open to trying different things. And I'm happy that, as I said, at our school, we have a STEM teacher. So I do say I do rely on her a lot for my resources. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Jolene. Deborah, would you like to go, or Doris?
Sure. I'm a music teacher, so I'm just trying to see if there's anything like with your presentation that will relate to music.
Okay.
So, thank you.
Yeah.
Hi, I'm Doris. I'm from Christian Academy. I'm a preschool teacher, and I've done only a little bit just by trying to find things online,
Mhm.
but not too much. But I want to use it more for a 3-year-old class and a 4-year class.
Okay, sounds great. Thank you so much, Doris and Deborah. This is great to know your STEM journey because it kind of also gives me a gauge of where the focus for this conversation will be. Because it is early childhood development, my presentation is based on a kindergarten to 6th grade school environment. And these are all experiments that I've done actually in my classroom with my students. I currently work in a very small school. Each of my classes are less than 10 students for 45 minutes or less, depending on the child or in the group. And it's a lot of fun. They have a lot of fun. And I think that's what makes doing STEM and early education so great. I see that someone else has joined. So before we move on to the next slide, is it okay if I ask Royer, just if you could say your name and what school you're from and kind of about your STEM journey?
Hi, my name is Renee Oyer. I teach at Sacred Hearts Academy in senior kindergarten. We just started a STEM program called We Engineers, so it's fairly new to me. We try to do at least one project a quarter, I guess, with the girls. We designate like one Wednesday during the week to focus on STEM.
Oh, that's so awesome. I love that you guys, a lot of you have the younger group, like 2nd grade and lower. That's one of my favorite groups. They're just so excited to see how things work and get to get their hands dirty. And that's what's so great about this. Okay. So going on, what is STEM, or now known as STEAM? It stands for science, technology, engineering, art, and mathematics. So this can include any type of science projects, any kind of tinkering, taking things apart, putting it back together. It also has an art aspect of it, where there's been a lot of different design features going on in the engineering field, which is really cool. And of course, it has to do with math and technology. So documentation. I personally feel sometimes it's very hard to get the kids to do their engineering journals. So I try to use resources that make it fun for them. So I'm just gonna share with you guys some of the examples I use with my students. So for my younger group, I tend to use for the 1st and 2nd graders, this notebook template. I let them color in the person, write their name, and every day that we do an activity, we go through it together. So they would write their name. On the board, I would typically write the type of activity, what are the goals that we would like them to complete for that day. I would also have them copy down the materials that we're going to use, my constraints, which are things that I must do and must not do. And then we go through the engineering process, which is what they're trying to learn at this age. So the engineering process goes from planning to creating, to testing, to evaluating, and then improving. So it goes in a big circle constantly. At the end of the day, we do a looking back, a reflection. So for them, this is a little easier to color in the face that they feel of how it all worked out for the day. Or another way that you can do it is through a number board to see how they felt they did if they don't want to go by the smiley face example. Okay. So that one's a little bit more fun and creative for the youngers. For my slightly older kids in 3rd and 4th, well, I use it for 2nd and 3rd, but you can use it for 3rd and 4th grade. This is a document that I created. It has the same kind of setup, except for it's structured a little differently. So I want them to identify the problem, list the materials that they use, and then I want them to brainstorm and draw. So that's the creative aspect. And prototype a design to fix that problem, write down the steps that they took to build their project or whatever they're doing at the time, test it out, say what worked, what didn't work, and then write down what we could do next time to make it better. For my 5th to 6th grade class, theirs is getting a little bit more intensive. So they would be going through their materials list. They would be also getting it set up in an actual engineering notebook style, where there would be a title of the page, a project, and the page numbers, because they would probably put it into some type of binder. They would go through a prototype design. And something that they're going to have to do starting in middle school robotics would be, they might start learning how to do CAD, which is computer aided design. So for that, there's different types of views. So we would teach them what a top view means, what a side view means, and what a front view means, of seeing what this project will look like in the end. For the explanation of details, they would have to write, like, how did they get inspired by this design? Or what did they find that works for them? As well as a conclusion. And like any official engineering notebook, the kids would sign it. We would write disclosed and understood by, and you would sign it. And then it would be dated so that it's how it will be turned in as a final assignment. Okay. Are there any questions at this time about the engineering notebook? Okay, sensing none, let's move on. So here's a fun experiment that I like to do with my kindergarten class. It's all about simple machines. So there's 6 different types of simple machines that we go through. And this will create a foundation for the students to learn about what are the different types of, what are the different types of basic machines that they can use. So for prep, if you utilize this link, it kind of gives you a whole how-to, like a whole lesson plan already set for you on how to explain simple machines. So you'd set up the video for the kids to watch, and it would give them an example. We could create some simple machines for the classroom for them to touch and play with. And afterwards, we would question, like, why are they important, and give examples of some of the simple machines they saw today. Another fun activity for kindergarten is to do borax crystals. It's very safe. And it's very fun to see them get to create their own art pieces using the power of science. So for this one, it's not too bad. It's easier if for kindergarten you prep the borax powder and the water already, as well as tie the strings to the popsicle sticks to set it up. On this, there's also an instructional on how to do this type of art craft and the science that comes behind it. For the after experiment questions, you can ask, what did they think the pipe cleaners would look like in one day? And what do you think would happen if we use less borax powder or more water? And you can kind of play around with the questions with them and just kind of get creative answers out of what they assume would happen. This one's really cool because you would bend a pipe cleaner into whatever shape that you would like, and you submerge it into the water borax mixture, which then over time crystallizes as it oxidizes. So by the end of the day, you might have a little crystal figure on top of your pipe cleaner that kind of looks like a rock candy, but they have just to let your students know they cannot ingest it for sure. So I was asked by Laurel to try to also share what are some Hawaii related STEM projects that I think are very interesting. So one of them that we also do in my classroom is that we build a raft. This can be done with 1st and 2nd grade. It's a really fun, quick activity where they would have to gather materials from outside, so sticks, leaves, whatever they can. And then it comes with a little Moana activity book for the students to play with, as well as do the experiment. There's a link at the bottom here for that. So once they build their raft, they would try to figure out how much weight can their raft support. And after that, what else they could add to their raft to steer. Like they could add a leaf that could catch wind, or they might be very imaginative and add some type of propeller. So it's really up to their discretion to figure out solutions to the problems that we're asking. Another good experiment, especially here in Hawaii for 1st to 2nd grade, would be beach erosion project. Please be prepared for the mess. Water and sand does get very messy. Probably best to do this experiment outdoors. Of course, you will gather all of your materials. And then this one's a really cool one because you get to add to it and take away from it as you want. So you could add more sand, you could add more water, you could take away sand. And over time, as they keep making waves into their sand and they watch as this beach erodes into the ocean, they can have all of these different things written down in their engineering notebooks as observations. So things that we could ask afterwards is, what do you think we can do to build to save our beaches from beach erosion? And this is something that would relate to the students as they live in Hawaii. They're surrounded by ocean constantly. And also, how many years do they think it takes for a beach to completely erode? There is a link for this one as well. Every experiment does have a link. Okay, so for 3rd and 4th grade, I've noticed that my kids, at least, they like things that pop and get a little messy. So I really like to do the canister rockets with them. It's a very simple experiment. It's not very expensive either. You take film canisters and you'll put you'll put an Alka-Seltzer tablet and water into them, pop it closed and let it pop. I would recommend watching the video that's with Science Ball because they do a really cool experiment where they put about 1,000 of these on a table and they watch them all explode at once. And it's a very fun way to get the kids excited about it before they go outside and do it for themselves. You can add an art aspect to it where they can decorate the canisters to look like rockets. They can add wings, they can add different types of shapes to the top of it to create different types of flight. And of course, then you can ask them about what would happen if you added more water, more Alka-Seltzer tablet, or what if we change the water solution to, let's say, vinegar and baking soda? Like, would it move faster? Would it be slower? There is a lot of different ways that you can keep this activity going if you wanted it to be a long-term project. Okay. Oh, and from personal experience, it's a lot easier to use Alka-Seltzer tablets with water because the explosion is a lot slower reaction than baking soda is with vinegar. Okay, and speaking of things that blow up, another experiment that we like to do is the volcano experiment. It kind of teaches them a little bit about chemistry at an early age, as well as, because we live in an island, about our volcanoes. So it's kind of nice because you can mix this experiment in with maybe a Hawaiian studies course, especially if your school is one to take students to the Big Island for a Big Island trip. This is a really great way to get them excited, and it's hands-on, it's a little messy, but tons of fun. So of course, it's best to always write out the questions that you want your students to think about when they're doing this experiment, because this is a more, it's a quicker experiment, because once you create your volcano and you pour the vinegar into the baking soda, it will just create its reaction. We definitely want them to think about all the different aspects of it. So we can ask them things afterwards, like when a volcano erupts and the hot lava comes out, do you think that this is what caused the dinosaurs to go extinct? So some kind of fun question, as well as we could ask them scientific questions like, oh, what, or we could do current events too with the new eruption going on the Big Island, as well as what type of reaction would we get with our volcano if we didn't add any more vinegar, or if we added more baking soda. And it's a lot of just trial and error and playing with it. For grades 3 to 4, this is a fun one. It's called Toothpick Bridges. This one is a good team building activity. For those of you who are not too sure, when there's testing students to go into certain private schools, they tend to have some sort of STEM activity where they have a lot of students go into a room, they put them into random groups, and they see how the students are able to work together and their leadership skills or their following directions. So this is one of them that I know that they utilize once in a while. So it's a good way to kind of get the students introduced early to these types of experiments. So we'd collect all the required materials, and then we would draw different inspirations of bridge designs on the board. So you could show them real life bridges, you can show them different types of suspension bridges. If you have a playground that has a little bridge, that's a really good resource as well to utilize. And once we have our bridge formed, and it takes time to dry, we can test out our bridge and find out how much weight can your students add to your bridge for support, or what type of shapes make a difference in the sturdiness. So this kind of teaches them the geometry of everything, that triangles tend to be better at holding structures than squares. It's a lot more sturdy. So for the older groups of kids, like I said, when students get into private schools, besides their SSAT scores, they tend to also get tested on their cooperation skills with other students. So this is one that I've actually seen be done in those testing scenarios. The students are given a bunch of materials, which include newspaper and a little piece of tape. And they're given very limited materials with a team of 4, and they must create the tallest self-standing newspaper tower. This one is a really good activity for them to redo an experiment, and it's a very cheap materials activity for them to do. So definitely try to print out from this link the procedure, the vocabulary, introduction, and the assessment to go over with your students. And then there's different, they can compete against each other in the sense where they want, of course, the strongest and tallest standing tower. So you can use a fan to create wind resistance against your tower, or you could jump on the floor and create an earthquake. So there's tons of different ways that they can try to compete against each other for who has the most sturdy design. So for this activity for 5th and 6th grade, it would be creating an aquifer. This is really important, especially here in Hawaii, because we're surrounded by water. And there's been a ton of research being put in recently on how to convert saltwater into fresh water, as we've already learned how to convert, use water energy to cool down the systems, such as at Hawaiian Electric. So the students would be given these small bottles of water that are purified bottles of water, and you can have them take a sip of it and then have them try tap water and see like, oh, what's the difference between this water and this water? Does it taste any different? Have them write those things down, and then collect the materials that they'll need to do this experiment. On this link, it has all of your prep work for a teacher. So it kind of gives you your instructions, questions to ask the students, as well as different types of activities to do with it. You can also ask them at the end of the day, like, why would you use an aquifer? Or do you think that this aquifer could filter seawater, and why or why not? And try to get them to really use their creative minds to come up with all types of ideas, because nothing is a bad idea. You always want to hear every single option. And then that's what the experimenting time is for them to try out whatever they want to try. So the last experiment that I have would be the egg drop challenge. It's a very common science activity that students do, especially in 6th grade. But it's a very important experiment, I feel. It teaches them a lot about how to create sturdy yet delicate designs. And there's a lot that can be taught from that, explaining gravity, Newton's apple theory, and also figuring out about how a lot of different outside things can affect the way that your egg falls, besides just it falling through gravity. So we can see how the surface that it lands on would affect, like if it landed on grass, whereas if it landed on gravel, does that make a difference in its landing? We could also find out how could we slow it down and make it a competition to have the slowest falling egg from the top, from the 2nd floor, or the fastest, or the one that can handle 2 eggs even. So there's a lot of different variations to all of these projects, so that if you want a short experiment, you can make it a short experiment. If you need it to be maybe a whole lesson, you could do it over a week. You could do it and ask different questions every day and let them go through the design process of re-prototyping for the new challenge and trying to figure out what's working, what's not working. And what the students do once in a while get frustrated with having to go back and redesign, but it also teaches them a lot of good patience about having to try to make things always better and always improve. Okay. Is there any questions so far about any of these experiments? Sensing none. I'd like to go through some of the free resources that are available. Let me take a look. So I'm going to close out of this presentation really quickly, and I'm going to open up to some of these free resources. And I kind of want to know, like, how many of you have actually gotten to utilize any of these resources, like Teachers Pay Teachers? Maybe by like a raise of hands or an emoji. Oh, yes. Good. So I personally really like Teachers Pay Teachers. It's a free site to utilize. You just have to create an account. It doesn't cost anything to create an account, but it also gives students or teachers the opportunity to share what their prep work is, as well as share experiments that they're doing in their classroom. And what's really cool about this website is that it's broken down into, as you can see, all these different subjects. You could break it down by grade level, or for example, if I just wanted to do a robotics program, I could type in robotics. Some of these lesson plans you can pay for if you'd like the whole bundle, which probably has the whole lesson plan for the teacher and all the worksheets for the students already ready to go. But if you go down and scroll into the different types of price ranges, you can click on free. It'll reload the page. And then from here, you can have all these free resources. There are a ton of resources on this website. As you can see, like this just brought up 791. So you can kind of find out what works best for your students or what are things that you would like to do with them. And they have different types of robots too that you could purchase, and this is programs that you could do with those robots. But you could click on one that suits your interests, and then you just click on download, and then they would download it for you. And then you could open it up and you could take a look at if this is something that you would want to do with your students. I definitely utilize this a lot with my students, where they have very short attention spans. So we have to do daily projects, but they definitely have a lot of fun and they're well thought out projects. Or is there anything someone in the group would like me to look up? So I know that we had a music teacher in this group. So something that we could do, I don't know if there's music, but we could try to type in music and then lower school music. We can click on all of these grades that we would like. Okay. And then of course, we can go down and we can click on the ones that are free. Okay. And so these are different types of activities for music teachers, or yeah, there's a lot of different games and worksheets. So it's a really cool activity. All right, does anyone want to see an example one on this site before having to make a account? So something that they think would be good for their student, like a grade level, a subject.
Madisyn, this is Jolene.
Hello.
Hi. Currently, my students are working on, or they just built birdie nests,
Okay.
because we're doing a unit on animal homes. And we're
Okay.
sort of wrapping up, and that sort of reminded me of one of your experiments when you're making that bridge with the twigs and whatnot. But I've never looked at TPT. Is there anything on there that maybe I can add to my unit on making the bird nests or of that nature, since you're looking up things?
Yeah, of course. So
Or if you have any other suggestions on how
We
I
could
can
do it.
enhance that unit.
yeah, so we could do second grade bird's nest. So then it's nice because they have tons of resources like this. Like if you wanted to make it a whole lesson, you could do drawing of the birds, you could do your bird book. You could do different labeling of the bird's nest and the bird, as you can see here. So it's definitely a good resource to try to get onto. It is free. You don't have to pay for it to make an account. So hopefully that helps. I would ask them about light maybe of the birds too, if we're going on bird's nest. You could try to do something on wind resistance with the kids, or you could ask them about how does a bird fly, or what are acting forces against that bird. I think there's a lot that they could add to this.
Okay, great. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Is there any other teachers that are working on projects at this time that you'd like to kind of see something from this site that could be utilized in a grade level? I'll put this also in the chat right now, this link, so that you guys can get to the Teachers Pay Teachers website. So I know that I believe Deborah, you said that you teach the, was it that you do the preschool here at Sacred Hearts?
I do pre-K to grade 6.
Okay. Oh, for music.
Yes.
Okay. Sorry. I'm trying to remember. Oh, is it Doris who does the pre-K group and STEM?
I do preschool, but I have from 3 to 5, 4 or 5.
Okay.
And we're doing like community helpers or Valentine's coming up.
Oh yeah.
And those are something I wanted to do something about, I guess.
Okay.
And we doing winter, so I was gonna try to do something with marshmallows.
Oh yes, I highly recommend doing. There's a marshmallow activity where you can create an igloo out of marshmallows and some frosting, so it's edible. It's really fun. Kids, I've noticed, really like food activities where they
Yeah.
can eat it. Just make sure that they know, like, oh, build the whole thing first,
Yeah.
and then you can
They'll
eat it
snack
when you get
along the
home.
way.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
by the end of
100,
it, you'll see
100
frosting all over their mouths.
yeah, 100 day is coming up too for us.
Okay. What do you typically do for your 100-day? Like a 100-day project?
We have them usually do accounting with some kind of food item on a chart.
Mm.
And then we have them bring in items that they counted up to 100. We have them strung Fruit Loops,
Oh,
like a lei with the things they counted, and they can eat it afterwards.
oh, that's super cool.
Yeah.
I used to help with the kindergarten after school care, so at Soto Academy, so I would watch them do their 100 days
Yeah.
as well. And the way that their teacher does it, they all get a big poster board that they bring home,
Yes.
and their parents will put 100 of something on it. So one kid did dinosaurs, 100 dinosaur stickers in the shape of a dinosaur,
Cool.
all kinds of different things. But that's really fun. Hopefully that this can give you also some other resources to try to add to your classroom based on what you would like to do. I totally agree. It's best to do holiday themed STEM activities because it goes just with the year. I'm currently working on my Valentine's Day activities with my kiddos. We're doing coding for Valentine's Day.
Oh, the popsicle stick looks good.
But yeah, there's tons of different activities that you could do. And what's nice about it is you could just spend your time scrolling through this and you could kind of like pinpoint like, oh, this is about boats and maybe people go boating in the summer. So this is more of a spring, summer type of STEM activity. Or they do like pumpkin activities for November, October, like rolling pumpkins down ramps and things.
We had the parents build a boat from home,
Mm.
like a homemade boat, and then we try to float it in class
Oh, that's so
as a
cool.
family project. Yeah.
Oh, that's so cool. That's a really cool one.
I didn't know that teacher pay was free. I thought it was always pay.
Oh no, yep.
No,
I
I
try
didn't know
not
they
to
had free
pay.
items on it. But this is
Yeah,
good to know. Thank you.
no problem. I saw a comment earlier that one of our other teachers, Marie, you do also pre-K? What school do you do pre-K at? Okay, maybe she's not there. But anyways, moving on, there's other resources that I'd love to show you guys that are also free. So this is from PBS Kids. This is called Design Squad Global. And it's really cool because you can show them videos and different designs and building. And if you guys have access to computers, you could also do the games with them. But this is also another free resource that you can utilize. What's good is that it's kind of broken down into all the different types of activities that they could be doing. So as you can see, there's art, building, machines, musical, party, toys, and vehicles. So for the music, this is something that they could be creating. And it goes from easy to hard based on what they think. So there's an instructional video on why does this work and how does it work? And it's nice because it downloads into a good PDF. So here's some things that they can use. These are things that as a teacher, we should prepare ahead of time. And these are the things that we want them to think about during the challenge. Creating new ideas, utilizing all their materials, and building different types of items for their project. So very simple projects and not too expensive on the materials. A lot of this is things you can find around your house, which is nice. It's not like you have to go out and buy expensive robotics kits or anything. But it's like a well-rounded project that you could probably get done in 45 to an hour with the kids. I think it's also cool to use Design Squad because these are actual kids teaching other kids about their experimentation and what they like to do, or what kind of questions they're going through their minds and how they're going to fix these problems. I'll put this link also in the chat. This one isn't broken down per se into grade level, so it's just going to be dependent on how you feel you're able to work with your students or what their level of learning is. Some grades, although we say that this is for a certain grade level, it might just not be for that group of students. So just take that with a discretion that it will just kind of have to be a trial and error, even as a teacher, that the kids that you think might be able to do something might not be able to do something, or they'll excel at something and they'll just blow you away. And then one more free resource that I'd like to share with you guys is another PBS Kids one. So on PBS Kids, they really did understand that kids went through a lot during the pandemic, having to stay at home and do digital learning. So they do all kinds of activities. And this one's cool because it filters by age and it starts at age 2. So you could click on science, you could do math too if you'd like to, and it's a mixture of activities. There's online games, there's crafts, recipes, experiments, and then the experiments come with videos, which is really cool. And they're typically the things that the kids are watching anyways on TV at home. So it's easier for them to relate and get excited about it. One project on here that I personally really like to do is with Cyber Chase Kids. We create gliders, bunny gliders for our kids, and we drop them from the 2nd floor. It comes with all the instructional online. It's on this website. It has like 2 episodes to watch with the student, and it shows how these cartoons were able to create a solution to this problem, and now they get to see it in real life and how it works. Oh yeah, so I don't know if for your bird experiment, if you have, or for the bird's nest, so this would be another one if you have access to computers. Yeah, there's a lot of cool stuff on here. And it's nice because you can kind of filter it by age and difficulty. I'll give you guys the link for this as well. Yes. There's this link as well. So a lot of it's going to just be research of what you want to be doing with your students. Creating your lesson plans around them. What are their interests? What are your interests? Like what kind of things do you want to see them create solutions to for problems? Ideally real life problems. Of course, it's also fun to see where their creativity can go in their limitless imaginations.
Madison, how long do you normally stay with one project? Like, what is optimal? Like, I know some you can do in one day, some take longer, but what do you think?
I think when it comes to the kindergarten, first grade, second grade, even preschool level, 1 day projects are the best. Like something they can finish in that day is what's going to keep their attention span and their patience. Personally, with the first and second graders that I work with, I've noticed that if the project goes longer than a day, maybe into 2 days, they tend to get very frustrated and will have to step away for a second. But it will all depend on kind of the group of students, I feel. With a 3rd to 5th grade or 3rd to 6th grade class, it's best to try to make longer projects, like at least week-long projects, just so that they can learn the process of the design process, that, you know, things are not going to be perfect the first time that you do them. There's always things that can be improved. So they have to go back and they have to re-prototype, they have to rebuild, and then test it again, so that when they present it to each other, they have the very best design that they could come up with. That's a very good question. Okay. So those are some of the free resources. Something that's not as free, but is very inexpensive for an introduction to robotics. I would say this is okay to do from 4th grade and up. You can go to Daiso, actually, on the island, and you can purchase these metallic puzzle kits. It comes with all the tools that you'll need and the parts to create these little machines. And it'll teach the students how to use tools and different screws to connect all these pieces together. And they're quite tiny, so it's very easy to store. This is something that I've done with my older group, my 4th and 5th graders. They had to produce one of each of these different kits that I had. So they would put it all together, and then they would show me, and then they would take it apart, put it back in the box, and then they would grab a new kit from the shelf. At the same time, they're filling out a worksheet for every build that they did. What was difficult, what was easy, what's something they had to learn about it. Because they'll find that even though there might be an instructional of how to build it correctly, sometimes the screw might just not be in the right position or placement, so you have to do a different step before the step that it tells you to do, and etc. So these are really fun. They're like $1.75 each, very cheap, very small, but it definitely gets their minds working in how to create real life machines rather than just Legos. Okay. And that's all I kind of have. Is there any questions? I'm seeing none. I would like to thank you all for joining me today and listening. I hope that you guys had a really good conference with the I Teach 808. And I'll be here to answer any other questions or give any feedback on any type of projects that you might have in mind, or share any of the resources that I've personally had to research and look into for the different grade levels.
Okay, mute. I would like to thank everyone say mahalo to our presenter, Madisyn Sim, and for everyone for participating. We hope that you found this session helpful and made some valuable connections. A special thanks again to our presenter and Sacred Hearts Academy of Honolulu and the Augustine Foundation for making the conference free for the past 10 years. Please help us now and complete the survey on the website, which I'm going to type in iteach808.com, so we can continue to receive grant funding. You will also receive a certificate of participation after completing the survey and automatically be entered to win one of 10 $10 Target gift cards if you complete the survey by February 4th. The survey will also be sent to you to the email address that you have registered with. Please make sure to check your spam folder for any of the emails from iteach808@gmail.com. And again, thank you for being here and sharing the sessions. And please feel free to join the other sessions coming up. And everyone, please have a wonderful day. Thank you very much again. And thank you, Maddie.
Oh, hi, Carol. Sorry. Madisyn is going to share a few more projects.
Okay. Oh, sorry. Go ahead. Sorry, Maddie.
No, you're good. Don't worry. I realized I went really fast.
Oh, okay. No
The
problem.
end. Yeah. I personally feel like the longest thing in teaching is the the lesson planning and having to figure out your resources and worksheets and all those things to do with them. So we can go through more examples if anyone has another project or a season in mind that they want ideas for projects to do this upcoming season. For this semester. So here's another example. This is something that I plan to do with my first and second grade class, as well as my kindergarteners. It's a very simple, quick project where they get to do prediction and outcome of what actually happens and what they think is going to happen. We're going to get some peeps, put them in water, Sprite, baking soda, and vinegar, and see how they sit in the pond of these different types of solutions. Very easy worksheet for them to fill out. For kindergarten or preschool, I'd recommend them drawing out what they think is going to happen and what it actually ended up looking like. For first and second, they can work on their writing skills and they can actually write down what they think will happen. This is my little collection of activities that I picked up. So Valentine's Day is coming up next. So there's one called the Candy Heart Tower. So it gives you the challenge to put up on your board of how high of a tower can you build with candy hearts. And each student will get a recording sheet and they'll do their different predictions and they'll color in, as you can see, how many hearts got into their stack. And at the end, we can all compare the data. And if you're working on graphing and math right now, that's something that we could graph that data. If you wanted to do something a little bit harder with early education, but like with the older grades, like 5th and 6th, oh, well, sorry. What do you mean by graphic organizers?
Oh, sorry. Kind of like we were just sharing, like how the students organize their data. the Valentine's tracker, those types of ones. Yeah, if you could show us some of your best ones. We have so many, and all of these are teacher pay teacher.
A lot of them are teacher pay teacher. There are some other resources like STEM bins, where they just send it to you for free, depending on what experiment you want to do. It's really nice because you could really also just Google experiments that fit whatever type of curriculum that you're running. And from there, there's probably a free resource somewhere. Actually, you just have to dig a little deeper. Let's see. That's another good one. Yeah, so this one's nice because this is off of Teacher Pay Teacher. So these are their November STEM activity ideas. So for this one, it gives you all your materials you need. And these could be like quick snippets for the students if they're ever bored or they have downtime and you want them to do something productive or constructive. You could put the materials into a little baggie and like have a little STEM corner in your classroom if you'd want, where they can follow the directions and build something based on the instructions in the packet and the materials. For the youngers, there's like coloring pages to match with the experiment. I know that somebody was gonna do the igloo challenge. So you can do this actually with marshmallows, or you could do them with cotton balls. I've seen a little bit of both. So this would be what the engineering steps would be to kind of go over with them if you would like to do an igloo challenge, and a little worksheet so that they can circle which one are the igloos based on the pictures, draw plans, test, create. It's nice because you can kind of teach them how to build the basic shape. I find that using a cup inside of it to create a structure works the best. That's something that not all of them will tell you. But this is another good resource to use. So it also has the pictures as you need. So this is what I did with my first and second graders actually for the igloo project. It made it a lot easier for them to stack the marshmallows all the way around the cup as a base structure and then build from there up. Whereas if you have a freestanding structure, it tends to fall and sometimes the kids get discouraged about that. So this is a good safe way to make sure that the project gets completely finished. Yeah, so here's more pictures, for example. So it's good for you to be able to see too prior to the experiment of how this is going to work so that you can best explain it to your students, whatever grade level that they may be. So as you can see, they just stacked the marshmallows around the cup, building it up to create their little igloo marshmallow tower. You could make it a long 1 week project with them by doing examples of like, why do Eskimos live in igloos if they're trying to keep warm? Why would they live in ice if they're trying to keep warm? And kind of going over things like that before you go through the actual activity where they get to build and touch with their hands. If you have kids on the older side of like elementary school, something that they might be interested in is doing paper toys. So it's a very cheap way to create a machine without needing to spend too much. So these are all free to print as well. This comes from Creative Goat, or Creative Park, sorry. This is their leaping goat. So it kind of teaches you how, after you cut out all of these pieces and fold them accordingly and glue them, when the kids use this little lever to rotate, it will actually have the goat move, as you can see in this motion. So these are just kind of fun to have in your classroom. Very easy to do and print out. And there's all kinds on the Canon website.
Oh, did you say it's on the Canon website? Like
Yes.
canon.com. Oh my gosh, that's so cool.
So yeah, there's ones like here. These types of toys are called automatas. So these are just paper versions of it that Canon has produced in the past. So there's cute ones. I tend to choose the easier ones for my students to go through. But there are more difficult ones if you find that your students are just excelling and they want a harder challenge. Or they can become easier, like little pop-up books.
Is Canon for cameras? Like the camera company?
Yeah, the camera company.
Wow, they also have makerspace stuff too.
Mhm.
Oh, that's so cool. Which one did you find easy to do with like the younger kids?
For the younger kids,
Or what's the
find
age
it.
range you recommend this one for? So cool.
The age range I would say is from 4th to 6th grade. They need to have precise cutting skills, which typically they develop by 4th grade. But if you wanted to do it where they create or you cut it out for them, help them out, and then they just kind of get to build it together, this would be a very easy one, the jumping jack clown. Because the pieces are quite small. There's not too many pieces for it either. But it's nice because it has all the colors already on it. And you just have to build it as instructed.
I love that. I love that they have everything that you can just print it out and you can cut it out. Makes it so much easier.
Yeah. Or any of their animal ones that don't really move. These are easy ones for kids to do on their own. This is something that probably the kindergarteners or well, maybe 1st and 2nd graders could cut on their own because they're bigger pieces. So you could do it with them, fold it, attach it, glue it together, and make little elephants for your classrooms. They also have designs like this, which is a snake. These ones are really cute because the snakes actually can move because they have the design of it. Opens and closes. So these are very easy to cut out for the kids.
Madison, do you have any cool things for Chinese New Year?
As for STEM related projects, not at this time, but with my Chinese background, I have a workbook for elementary school kids that I've used in the past. It's really cute. It has a lot of Chinese New Year information. I could try to find that PDF if you're interested. It's just a workbook for that. And I gave it to the kindergartners. There's crosswords in it. It has a little bit of reading in it, coloring pages.
That would be super cool. Yeah. I know we're trying to come up with some Chinese New Year activities and stuff. Your Google Drive is so organized. You label everything so well.
Yeah, but I hope that you were all able to utilize a lot of these different resources that are out there. And I know that when you do your own research, it can be quite intimidating that there's a lot out there and everything charges money for it and it's quite expensive. And when you hear STEM and robotics, you might think like, oh, I gotta drop like $500 to buy this kit, or I have to put in so much money to buy materials, these specialized materials like flasks and whatever you might need, scientific flasks. But this way you can kind of see like it's achievable. You have these materials, you have the students who have that creativity, and you just have to give them the opportunity. Are there any other projects that anyone is thinking about doing, or any kind of specialties?
Hi, I teach first grade, and
Okay.
we're right now we're just starting our unit on light and sound. Do you
Okay.
have any kind of activities for that unit? Thank you.
Yeah, let me take a look. So I know we had the music teacher here earlier. So like you saw on the first page that we kind of did, you could do a music type of lesson. I don't have that one quite printed, but I have it on the actual site. Oh, another resource, like while I'm looking for that link, that's good to do. Actually, if you're trying to introduce kids to any kind of like, why does something work this way, is to let them watch Storybots on Netflix. It's free. They have like video. It's kind of like the new age Magic School Bus, and they have little robots that go on adventures to answer kids' questions about everyday life things. So they do have one on light. They have like, what is gravity, or why do we need like composting, or things like that. It's a really good resource to use. I really like that with my kids. It kind of gets them engaged and interested in the topic, and it also helps answer their questions before we start the experiment.
Sorry, can you repeat that? What was the name of that magic school bus type of show that you recommend? Or can you show?
It's called Storybots, so I'll pull it up right now so you can kind of see
cool.
it. It's very
Thank you so
cute.
much.
It's age appropriate, and there's tons of different. I think there's like 3 seasons of it, so there's a lot to utilize on it. Yeah, so there's this one that's Ask the Storybots. Sometimes if you just have something and you don't have the time.
Oh, sorry. I think the screen froze. Could you, I don't know. I have the Google Drive screen. So sorry.
It's still on the Google Drive screen. Let me change it. Okay. Are you guys able to see the Netflix screen?
Yeah, yeah. Oh, Netflix.
Yeah. So this one's really fun. Like as you can see here, they ask things like, how do you make music? Or where do planets come from? Or why does everyone look different? Or things like that. And there's 3 seasons of it. Or why do I see? That might be a really good one to show them if you have the resources to project a video in your classroom, or if you have access to Netflix. It's good because it's also on YouTube. I've noticed you could also just Google like Storybots, thunder, or something, and then they have a song about it, or yeah, they have some kind of explanation about it. And it explains it to kids in a very funny, exciting way for them to be engaged with it. Yeah, so they have all kinds of questions, like how do computers work? Or how do our ears hear? There was another, oh yeah, they have a space adventure one if you wanted to do a space lesson where you could incorporate rockets, planets, any kind of like the solar system. Those are really fun, like big units to kind of go over with different types of projects that you could add to it. There's also Emily's Wonder Lab. A lot of kids like this one too, I've noticed. There's a lot of things that blow up in here as well to watch. So it keeps your classroom clean, but they get to still watch the experiment go on. And of course, there is always Magic School Bus, which is really good as a resource to use if you're trying to do a video explanation of a project that you would like to do. Are there any other questions? I hope that some of these resources are able to help you with the curriculums that you have in mind for your students. I would just say my advice is just have fun with them, learn with them, make mistakes, and teach them that it's okay to make mistakes and that they can learn from it and everything can always be improved. Thank you.
Okay. Is there some more? Or now are we at the end?
I think
Oh,
we're
Madisyn, sorry, a quick question. Do you have portfolios for the students, or how do you share student work like for these maker spaces? Like, do you have a website and then the parents like check and see like, oh, that's what they're learning? Or do you do like Google Drive?
I post my pictures. I like to take a lot of pictures of the kids experimenting because the school likes to put it on their website for the different classes. So that's all on a Google Drive. As for their actual work, what's nice about these projects is that they're technically small enough that you can send it home with the students. So they get to bring it home with them and they can show their parents and explain, what did I make? What did I do? What did I learn today in robotics? If not, they also have their journal, which goes home with them at the end of the semester. So they'll have all the documentation in there. And the parents will kind of go through it with them, like, oh, what is this drawing? Or what did you do on this day? And the kids will have the opportunity to explain it.
Oh, that's so cool. You have them journal. Do they journal every time they come to see you?
Yes, so they journal every time we do a new project that is something that they could journal about. Sometimes we do really quick projects like cookie dunking and like which cookie floats the longest, and then they just eat it. So that's something that we might not journal about, but if they're actually building something, we'll definitely journal about it.
That's so fun. And then the youngest age is 5 that you work with?
Yeah, the youngest age that I work is with 5-year-olds, but because I also taught the summer school robotics or engineering at this school, the incoming kindergarteners during summer school are still in the mindset of preschool. So it's kind of like teaching from 4-year-olds and up.
Oh, nice. They're so lucky to have you. It's so nice like you have such a variety of activities for them. And yeah, that they're getting that exposure at such a young age. Yeah. You're so patient and everything with them and stuff. Yeah. I love that. Yeah, I love that you have the self-reflection component too. I wish I could be in your class.
It's okay. One day Ethan will be.
Hey, yes, that would be great.
But thank you all for joining me today for listening to me go on about all these different resources and activities. I hope that you are able to incorporate them in your classroom. And if you have any questions or you would like any type of materials, please feel free to send me an email. I'm more than happy to give my advice on projects that I've done, like what works, what doesn't work, because sometimes they don't tell you what works and what doesn't work when they have a written out guide. So yeah.
Okay, Madisyn, thank you so much for being our presenter today. We enjoyed your presentation very much. It was so informative, and we appreciate you and everyone else for being with us today. And again, now I can say thank you, everyone. And this is the end of our presentation. And don't forget to fill out our survey so you can be entered and eligible for your gift card. And don't forget to look on your email and your junk mail for that gift card if you should be the lucky winner. And again, if you have any questions, please feel free to email us and participate in our survey so that we can continue to receive grants for these wonderful iTeach programs. Okay, so thank you all for being with us. Aloha and have a wonderful weekend. Mahalo and a hui hou. Bye-bye, everyone. Have a great weekend. Thank you, Maddie.
Thank you.
Thank you.